Well, hello, welcome. It is time to have a chat. Let's have a chat this week about feet because I get lots of questions, I get lots of conversations, I get lots of opportunities to hear stories about feet. As we always say, happy feet make for happy hiking. So it's Yvonne here from Women's Fitness Adventures coming to you live. We've been doing this weekly for about 11 years now, pretty consistently. So thank you for taking the time to tune in. As always, if you have a question, please just fire away with the question. And if you are watching live, please let me know. Hello, Sharon from the Gold Coast. Welcome back from Germany. And if you're watching on the replay, please let me know as well. So do your feet hurt on your hike is the topic we're covering tonight or today, right now. So here's what's really happening. Now, just going to preface this, I'm not a health professional. I'm not a podiatrist, but I am, I guess you would say, a hiking professional. That is my job, and a personal trainer. And I have dealt with thousands and thousands of women over the past 11 years on the trails and in fitness. So I have stories, I have anecdotes, and I have some tips and tricks. But if your feet are constantly hurting, then you really should seek a health professional, a podiatrist or a physio. And you should not put on Facebook or, out to the universe, I have some issues with my feet. For any health thing, actually, what does everyone think it might be? Because most people aren't health professionals, and most people will just give you an opinion rather than proper feedback and guidance. So painful feet can impact our enjoyment on a hike, absolutely. And painful feet can range from anything that is mega, mega painful to blisters, which can turn painful, to just some general aches and pains as well. And we know that when you don't have happy feet, you feel pretty miserable and you make everybody else miserable around you. So one of the things that I have been testing and trialing for myself over the past, I would say 10 years or so, is to always look after my feet. And it's worked really, really well up until about the last 8 months or so. And I think that I have just been on my feet a whole lot, and that has caught up with me now. When I say on my feet a whole lot, I do run and train for marathons, and I'm hiking, considerable days of the week as well. So I'm always on my feet, always looking after them. But this year has forced me to take a closer look at feet, and that experience I can share with all of you as well. But common complaints we have around feet are blisters, sore feet, achy feet, heel pain, toe discomfort, just a few things. And some of these things are really easy, really fixable things that we can do. And the most important thing I can say, and from experience, is to love on your feet. So when was the last time you took your shoes off, just sat there and just gave your feet a really, really nice little massage, just to talk kindly and talk nicely to them? They're often forgotten because they are our, at those things at the end of our legs. But if we do give them a little bit of TLC, when did you give them a foot bath? When did you give them just, put some moisturizer into the feet and just get those sensors under your feet, in your arch or in between your toes working? And I was doing an experiment the other day. Well, not an experiment. I have found this feet thing on YouTube, and it was, and my daughter can do this really, really well, but I can't. So this is my foot, my toes. And it was to put your fingers, opposite hand, through the webbing of your feet so that you're actually giving yourself a toe hug, like so. I've got good circulation there in my hands. So you can see them changing color. But on one side, I can easily do that. On the other side, it's literally just poking them through. So just to give them a little bit of love and rubbing through here as well. So just to give a bit more space between my toes as well, to let them breathe a little. Now, one thing that happens as we get older, and especially if you live in warm climates and you wear sandals or slides or something like that quite a bit, your feet will get bigger over time. They'll spread. So that's something to consider if you are pulling on a pair of hiking boots that might have been sitting in your cupboard for a couple of years, that your foot may not be the same as it was a while ago. So there's common complaints of blisters, sore or achy feet, heel pain or toe discomfort, firstly can be a result of your boots not fitting correctly. So like I said, if you haven't been hiking for a while, I know our members who are watching, only Sharon's identified herself at the moment, our members are out hiking regularly. So boots are already, on the regular rotation list for them. So making sure that the boots, when they wear out, so if they don't have if they've run out of tread, that might be something that causes your feet to ache because you're literally, putting more of your foot and that foot impression through to the earth coming up. Your boots can be the wrong size or the wrong shape. Now, there are very few people in the world that have the perfect foot, that have nothing, quirky or odd about their feet. And when I say odd, I mean, we don't have the anatomy of the perfect foot. We might have a bunion, we might have a bursa, we might have, our big toe bigger than our second toe bigger than our big toe, all sorts of things. So standardized is probably a better word. So we might find that the shoes that are regularly available in all the stores aren't necessarily for us, or we have a bigger foot and we need a wider toe box or whatever it might be. So sometimes when you put like the ugly stepsister, you put the wrong shoe in the wrong foot in the shoe, it's not going to fit, and that can cause blisters or pain or achiness. It could be that we have literally just outgrown the shoe. It could be that, like me, in the last couple of weeks, I've had to get orthotics, and I'm testing out whether the orthotics means I need to change the size of the shoe, my hiking shoe that I get, because I don't want anything else to be squished in there. So far, so good. So our boot fit is really important when it comes to that. If our feet are hurting, have I got the right boot? Has my foot changed? Has something different happened? So boot is one of them. Other things that might cause our feet to be sore, I'm not talking even blisters yet, is our lacing techniques. So there are so many different ways that you can tie the laces of your hiking boots for going uphill, for going downhill. And, if your toes are always bumping to the front of your boots when you're going downhill, then you need to lock, retie and rejam your foot to the back. It's not the right word, but to the back of the boot, so that you are making sure that your foot is not slipping forward and bumping your toes to the front of your shoe, which can cause, toenails to go a bit darker as well. But also the lacing techniques, if you've got a hot spot, or if you've got feeling your foot is restricted or restricted movement, can really be a game changer with that. If you're finding your ankles are moving around a lot and they hurt, it could be that you need to move from boots to trail shoes, or trail shoes to boots, to strengthen or release or deactivate some of those muscles that are doing the work. And then, of course, the fixable mistakes of boot fit, lacing techniques, but also socks. Having the right socks is a game changer. We can get blisters, we can get friction, we can get black toes, we can get a whole lot of things. One of the things, the most common thing when it comes to feet hurting is blisters and ignoring the signs of a blister. So I'm just going to say hi to Marie, hi to Lynn, hi to Annette, hi to Anne, and hi to Marie. Got a few Maries tonight. Welcome. That blisters are a result of friction. So if you've never had blisters before and your feet start to hurt and get a blister, it is a result of a change in friction of some sorts. Now, there are some fabulous websites out there that deal specifically in blisters, and if you're prone to blisters, I suggest you take a look at that. But one of the things, this is my shoe, I think I've spoken about this before, and this is my foot. And so this friction happens when we are walking or hiking along. Now, if my foot gets dehydrated because it's a hot day and I haven't drunk enough water, then perhaps my foot starts to shrivel a little bit, and it changes the friction points in my the sole of my shoe. If I am overhydrated, then perhaps there's more water in there, or I've changed the weight in my backpack all of a sudden, and then there's more pressure and weight going down through my foot, yeah, which is another friction point. All of a sudden it's much heavier. So it was like this before. Now it's much heavier. And so any movement in my foot is causing more friction. Or a bit of sand gets in underneath there. And what could I put in here as sand? I've got this little old, if you can see it, paper clip. So I'm going to put that there it's got down in between my sock and my shoe. And then all of a sudden there's this friction point in there as well. So lots of things can be the cause of, well, can give you a blister, but it is that friction. So take note of that. And that's why a really good pair of socks will help make a difference as well. But as soon as you get any sort of hot spot or anything that does not feel right with your feet, what you need to do is just stop and address that, because it's that at that point, if you don't do anything down the track or tomorrow, there will be something that you need to deal with the consequences of, which could be mild or it may not be mild at all. And also, if you don't have the right socks, it could potentially be that you get black toenails as well. And I'll talk about that. So how do we do a quick fix? So I've said that, three things we can look at first and foremost if we have sore feet when we hike or after hiking is that, are our boots fitting correctly? Have we got our shoes laced correctly? And are we really making sure we've got the right socks that are fit for purpose? So how do we fix that? So with our boots, what we want to make sure, and our members have access to all of this through all of our masterclasses, so much more in-depth stuff than what I'm giving you tonight. So members, you know where to go to look for your masterclass stuff. Hello, Maria from Toongabbie. Hello, Christine from Melbourne. And hello, Erica from Perth. Lovely to have you here. So what's a quick fix for our boots? So what we want to do is to make sure that when we're trying on hiking boots, we're doing it when our feet are swollen or warm. So it's not first up in the morning when we've got out of bed, got in our car and driven to the hiking store. It is making sure that we've been walking around a bit. We've had a little bit of action happening. We've warmed up the muscles. We've pushed blood around our extremities so that we're going into a store when our feet are normally, in a state of doing what they would do on the trail. We want to make sure that when we buy our hiking boots or shoes that we're going to wear them around the house a little bit to make sure that they are the right fit, especially if we have things like bunions or bursts or anything like that we need to be mindful of to make sure that what we're buying, we're not exaggerating. We also need to remove the insoles. So again, if, what I want to do is I don't have any shoes here with me, is take out the insole and put your foot on it and just have a look at how much room there actually is. And just like when you were a kid and you used to get the school shoes and you'd go in and the barter shoes were around at the time, and, they would put the fingernail or the finger at the top of your toes to make sure that there was enough room and they'd press down. It's the same principle that applies with hiking boots. We want to make sure that they're a little bit bigger, and especially when we go downhill, that we've got room, a little bit of room for our foot to slide. We don't want it to slide too much, which is why we adjust the laces. So adjust them for going downhill and adjust them for going uphill. If our feet swell, we might need to loosen them. Shoelaces might loosen over time, which may cause more movement, more friction. So you may want to tighten them as well. So some great ways to, start playing with the laces to get that sensation through your feet. Now, nobody knows your feet like you do. So it's really important if they're continually aching, and some of these things don't fix it, that you do go and see the health professional. But with socks, socks are the game changer as well. A simple thing to remember is pay the money for good socks. So you want to experiment with socks. A lot of people will say if you get blisters all the time, then you should have the Injinji socks. That is a personal choice for that person. So I'll share that in a second, Rebecca. Is that if you're prone to blisters all the time, then you've got to have a look at some of those blister sites I was talking about. But address that in your circumstance, and those extra set of socks might work for you. If you get blisters and you've never had blisters before, then look at what you've done. Have you increased your pack weight? Are you too hydrated? Are you dehydrated? Did you get something in there? Were you on a different surface? So thinking, did you get sand in there? Did you wear different socks? Just think about, did you add that pack weight too quickly? Just think about the different things that you did that if you never get blisters that caused you to have blisters, because that could be a simple fix there. Make sure the socks have the right padding in the right spots, that they have the arch support, that they have that compression in there, and that they're wicking. A lot of people think that if some people get black toenails from continually bumping up to the front of their shoe, which is maybe a wrong shoe fit, maybe it's too light, too loose or too tight a shoelace, or maybe the socks aren't moisture wicking enough. We lose a lot of fluid through our feet. I challenge you to, whatever shoes you're wearing now, just think about, unless you're wearing slides or something, or thongs, are your feet sweating? I've got some enclosed shoes on, and I feel that my feet are quite warm. So we lose a lot of water through our feet, whether we're wearing dress shoes or our sports shoes or our hiking shoes. Same goes, you can, lose a lot more when you're hiking. You lose a lot more water through your feet. So taking socks off at lunchtime and letting them air, letting them dry out a little bit. Putting some, black toenails aren't always the result. Not everybody gets them, and I don't get them, touch wood, can be the result of bumping up against your the front of your shoe. But it could also be the result of moisture getting underneath your toenails. So you could put talcum powder under there as well, which will help, take away some of that moisture as well, or an equivalent of talcum powder that you might choose. So the other thing with sore feet, if you've addressed those, making sure you've got the right hiking boots or shoes that are the right fit and the right fit for your foot specifically, that you've looked at how you tie the shoelaces, and that you've made sure that you've got the right pair of socks. And even if you just have the one pair of socks, it is really, a key to success with making sure your feet are well looked after. So try all of those. Another thing is, if you've finished the hike and your feet are sore, and as you get older, feet do get sore, there's things that go wrong with our feet, is to make sure that you stretch. So when we wear different shoes, especially as women, when we get to that age where it's perimenopause or menopause or beyond, and the hormones start to change in our body, we need to make sure we stretch, and things happen with our feet at that stage. So stretching, releasing through our collective calf muscles, releasing through our ankle muscles. So really, doing that push against the wall and stretching out our calf muscles really makes a difference. The other thing that makes a difference is to put our feet up against the wall when we get home, clean feet, 1 minute per kilometre that you've hiked. That will really help reset your system. It gives you that opportunity just to relax as well. Yeah, absolutely, Marie. Forgot about that one. Keeping your nails trimmed really helps. So one thing we say, and one of our members is a podiatrist and has shared this, and Marie, you prompted me for that, so thank you, is to make sure that when you're going on a hike, that you trim your nails at least a week before, so that they're not too short when you go, and you're not doing it the night before. So that makes a huge difference as well. Now, Rebecca says, I'm from the Gold Coast. The Brazilian bum cream on sore, tired feet is a really nice treat after a shower as getting into bed. Absolutely. Just that, whether it's that cream, whether it's some physio cream, whether it's just some moisturizer that you have, that opportunity, that sensory touch of just rubbing the feet, of giving them that love and care, really just helps stimulate them and, give that nice little massage to them. It doesn't have to be all that long to be able to do that. So putting the feet up against the wall will really help reset and help with reducing swollen feet as well. If you find that you are, walking around like on eggshells, or if you get up in the morning and it's, a little bit of tenderness, it could be that you do need to, could it be arthritis? Just a few things like that. So, just explore and start investigating and asking questions about your body. So a lot of those things are quick fixes that can be solved, and address those. But as they say, if symptoms persist, please consult your health professional. But just making sure that, the gear and equipment that you have, especially for your feet, are fit for purpose. Because if you don't have the right shoes, or your feet hurt, it's prone to accidents. It's prone to tripping. It's prone to, falling over and potentially hurting yourself. So just making sure that, when you hear that niggle or that little whisper about my feet don't feel so great, what can I do in those quick little fixes of boots, laces, and socks? And then, of course, the trimming of the toenails and, putting some talc in there and feet up against the wall. Does that make a difference? Will that help me in my next hiking journey as well? So that's all I wanted to share tonight, short, sharp, and sweet. So if your feet hurt and you still have questions, or you've tried all that and still have questions, pop them in here. There's plenty of people in this chat who have great experience. You can also visit us over on YouTube, where this will be recorded. So hi Leonie from Gympie as well. So we do know, though, that looking after your feet, staying well hydrated, goes a long, long way to making sure that our feet and our legs staying good after a hike, so we can keep hiking on and on and on. So that's it from me. Have a great week, and I will catch you next time. Thanks. Bye.